you to use your mouth. However, I have a beard and aren't going to be able to see the details of my mouth very well to get it carved in there correctly. So I'm using my fiance's pictures of my fiance's mouth here. So with the mouth, you want to look at it from at least 2 points of view. You probably want to do 3 points of view each side and straight on. With the straight on view, it looks relatively flat, but from the side view, you can see how rounded it really is. So think of your teeth are in this area right here and fit in your mouth, so they protrude forward and create this ball shape for the front of your mouth. So you can see the roundness here and how it goes back that way. So the mouth is not just a straight line across. So you'll want to get a little plat of clay, about 2 by 3 inches, something like that. You can see on my grid here, these are each inch square, so it's a little bit bigger. I want it about life size, so you can kind of measure, and you want to kind of establish the roundness of it. So I've started a little bit looking at this shape here. So it protrudes forward, and I'm going to continue to build that up. I find it best to kind of keep a small piece in your hand, and that's one of the best ways to kind of warm up the clay, is to keep the clay in your hand as you work, because you'll want to, especially as you're starting a project, you want to keep, and adding to the project, you want to keep a little bit, and you want it in your hand so you can add softer clay to it. This clay does not require slip like a normal, like water-based clay, so it's a little different in that manner. And I'm looking at how it tucks in, how her lip tucks in here, and how her mouth goes back and is rounded in such a way. So I need to bring that bottom lip probably a little further forward. And I'm kind of smoothing as I go a little bit, just to kind of keep it neat. It doesn't need to be perfect because you'll go there later. And if you add too much, that's fine. It's easier to remove. But you want to get that volume right. The volume of the arc of the mouth. And you can see I'm getting pretty close. Add a little bit more to the bottom. Alright, so next step, after you get the basics, kind of get the volumes right, you need to create a center line. I'm not sure I have this right yet. I'm working on it. So using whatever tool, just something to start kind of drawing with, because this is relief sculpture, so relief sculpture relies a lot on drawing skills. So you can create a center line. That's not centered. Try again. And the mouth is going to be the same distance between each side, depending on facial expression. But to start with, I want you to keep a straight. Don't give it an expression to start with. So you'll start with. So you can see that I've marked where I want the edges of the lips to be, or the mouth. And now I can kind of strike a line across, so I can kind of keep it equal across. And the way to make this look like you, or whoever you're trying to make it look like, is to pay close attention to the way the mouth line is. It's not straight across. It kind of rises here and then dips back down, and her lips are slightly parted, so it arcs up and comes across, and then it dips down, back up, and then drops back down. So that's what I'm going to try to achieve here. So cut this a little bit deeper, it tucks down like so. Drops down, and then comes up. And I'm at the center line now, so probably need to come up a little bit more. Now I gotta try to do this on the same on the other side. So it comes down and drops down here, then comes up, and then drops down. I think that's about right. So you can also see that her top lip here tucks back in underneath and doesn't go all the way to the edge, and it arches up, and then the cupid's bow here, and then comes back and once again tucks down before the edge of before the end of the mouth. And the way you're going to create that line is by creating a shadow along the top here. So it kind of tucks back in here. So I'm going to use my cutting tool, and I'm going to bring it up, and I'm cutting down to the line I drew. Then the cupid's bow, which actually is going to be removing here. We'll remove that. And comes back here. So now I need to remove that. More concerned with this edge than I am bottom edge at this moment, because I'll fix that. This is where kind of a larger, flatter, probably use this knife a little bit better. I can press this up to get that cupid's bow a little bit more pronounced, and to raise this line up. When you're working, you want to make sure you're working in a nicely lit area, so because what you're doing is you're playing with shadows here, so you want to make sure you got some nice shadows to mess with. So this tucks back in here. You can see how it kind of rolls over, perhaps. I don't know how well you guys can see that photograph. Then this cuts back in here. And then the bottom lip is kind of a rounded surface that rolls out. So once again, I'll just kind of scrape. And it goes a little bit further than on her. It goes a little bit further than her top lip. And all I'm doing is exposing that to the light. I'll probably have to go back and redraw that original line at some point. This thinner knife. Go back to this. I have a feeling I'm going to have to add some more down here, so I'm keeping some clay in my hand. I can't get my fingers back in there, so I'm pushing up a little bit, like right in there, to kind of shorten this top lip. Now I can open that mouth up just slightly, just pushing down. And we can see that her top lip, we want to make sure we're looking at the side view too, so her top lip is a little bit more protruded than her bottom lip, so I need to remove some of this. It's still not there. So you can see what I'm looking at here. I need to push that back a little bit more too. Bring that top lip forward a bit more. By pushing the back lip or the bottom lip back. And you can see like her bottom lip isn't really protruded a whole lot, kind of dimples down a little bit, so it's getting pretty soft. That makes it easier to use your hands to have it soft. Got that too pronounced. When you're working from pictures, you want to make sure that you're referring back to those pictures a lot. So your computer or phone should never go dark. Her chin is right in here, so I'll include that a little bit. So let's see here. Go back to be tucked down a little bit. Make sure you keep track of that line. I think I just lost track of it a little bit. And to refine the shape here, scraping a little bit. Now I'm looking at the way the muscles around the mouth here are shaped, how the flesh getting closer. Now I want to look at how the bottom lip tucks under here and how it comes around. I don't quite have that. I have it a little too flat. I've flattened it out as I've gone. think I've gotten too far up this way because the nose would be starting about right there. So let's cut that off. We don't need that. Not in this video. There we go. That's better. So that needs to be pushed back. Cut a little bit more off here. Keep it handy. So I'm getting that volume back. And it's a push and pull and revise and make sure you keep looking. You can see here that's what's creating that line, is how that piece of flesh comes forward. Make that line, and then we're going to soften it with our fingers. My finger's too big to get back in there, so there we go. That side's looking about right. Now I'm going to get the other side. Then to kind of finish it, I'll get the other side, and if you kind of finish it, go back and re-emphasize the line of the mouth. A little less here, and obviously with the slightly open, I need to open that a little bit more. I can put my knife in there and just kind of push it down a little bit to open it just slightly. Kind of redefine that details. And if you're going really detailed, she's got this scar right here from her childhood, and I'll kind of put that in. It's just a dent. It's just a change of light. It's not so much though that and then later we'll make a mouth. So make sure you're looking at the side view, the front view, and the other side view.